Well, in 2002, a group of community-minded folks who all had the same vision for a grief center got together for the first time to sit down and talk about it. We took a field trip to the Caring Place in Pittsburgh, which is the closest grief center that all of us were aware of. And we were able to get acquainted with them, and we all sat down and decided, do we want to do this? And the answer was yes, we do want to do this. So we applied for a grant. We had an attorney that was part of the board at that time too, and we received the grant, went ahead and became a 501c3. It took 2 years to put this together. So in the fall of 2004, the West Virginia Family Grief Center had its first night of service. We, before that, had trained volunteers, so we were all on board. We did the volunteer training, and matter of fact, some of those early volunteers are still with us and part of our program. So it became a reality, and we've been rolling down the road ever since.
Well, I actually volunteered there when they first started. I knew a lady who was instrumental in getting it up and running, and she told me about it, and I was at the time in social work, and so I had a great interest in that sort of thing. So I went through the first training that they did, and I volunteered then after that for several years, I forget how many, and then later we became clients of the program as well. That's sort of how it started for me.
I came on board the second year as a pastor and counselor, and I was interested in the same thing and just helping with some people. So I was there for 6 years, a brief stint on the board of directors with them as well. And then, as she said, on the client side when our son died.
I got involved in the Grief Center back in 2004 as a volunteer, and I was just starting to learn more about grief and how grief truly affects kids and the importance of supporting kids when they're grieving the loss of anybody that they love. And so the opportunity to go through the grief training, go through the volunteer training, and be a volunteer with the program was really life-changing for me in a lot of ways. So we really want to help our volunteers understand their own grief and their own kind of grief experiences so that they can help support kids and teens with their grief experiences.
I can remember not too awful long ago when we had one of our silent auctions, a mother came up to me and she looked entirely different. She now had remarried, and she said that our program saved her daughter's life. And I said, really? She goes, her daughter, she felt, was suicidal, and she came here and helped her kind of work through her grief issues, and she began to have hope. And that's what we all want to do, is to be able to have hope in the midst of all that. So that's what we try to offer, is families to realize that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a train coming, but it's hope, and we want to bring them hope. And that's what we do in this community, is try to make a difference in people's lives. No one is charged anything, it's entirely free. We operate on grants and donations. We do 2 major fundraisers a year, the silent auction in the spring, and we've done elimination dinners, and we're starting a 5K that was started. So these are ways in which we're able to kind of not charge anyone to do what we do, but just to give them a resource.
So one of the other things that we provide with the Grief Center is we offer a dinner to all of our families before we break into different groups for the night. The other thing is it gives families an opportunity to sit down one night a week and have dinner together in a different environment, not a lot of pressure or stress, and they can just come sit down and eat. Whenever there's an organization interested in providing meals for the Grief Center, we love when they contact us and have questions or want to know what they can provide. Some organizations come in and they make dinners here and then sit down and eat with the families, and provide that food. Other organizations choose to buy something or provide money so that we can buy something and bring it in. So it's really kind of whatever that organization is most comfortable with. But whenever someone's interested, they call the Grief Center and we'll talk about kind of what works out best for them. We have a group of wonderful volunteers that care a lot about our families and the kids and teens that they work with. And because a lot of them too are here because our mission speaks to them for their own personal reasons. So one of the things that we do is both before we break into groups, we have a volunteer meeting, a pre-meeting, where we come together and just kind of get ready for whatever the evening holds, and get a chance to just, the volunteers, talk with each other and kind of commune with each other. And then after the meeting is done, then we have a post-group meeting. It gives them that chance to talk with each other about whatever they experienced for tonight, any thing that might have triggered them that night that they needed to kind of talk through a little bit, because they do care so much that sometimes the things that families have to say kind of really speaks to their heart, and they need that moment to kind of recenter themselves before going back into their lives for the night also. And so we like to make sure that we're taking care of our families and also taking care of our volunteers. Grief is universal. Everyone is affected by grief in some way. And so the more we're taking care of everyone that's involved with our program, the stronger our program becomes.